All right, so a vent fan is probably one of the most important things to upgrade when you're doing a new bathroom or any type of bathroom renovation. It's the number one reason why there's mildew and mold in an existing bathroom, and it's something that I really highly recommend anybody doing when they're doing that. So one of my favorite fans, and I seem to install this, I probably installed 100 of these at this point, is these Panasonic Vent Fans. I really like them. They're really quiet, they work efficiently, and then you can also adjust the cubic feet per minute of air coming out of it. So if you want to be a little bit more efficient, you can lower that standard on that. But you know, really, it's a really foolproof system. And I usually like just getting just the vent fans without the light, and then have a light separate to the fan. So we'll go ahead and get this installed. Now there's a couple of different ways you can go about venting. It's really important to get this out of your home, get that humid air out. You don't want to be having this just going into your attic space. You can cause mildew and mold in your attic space as well, which is really not a good combination, especially if you're in a newer home. You know, everything's really airtight, and if you have humidity put into a space like that, it can really turn into a moldy mess. So you want to get it out of your house. There's really three options for you. One, which is probably the best, and that's what we've done in this situation, is put a roof vent. So it goes directly straight up and out of the roof area. That's usually the most efficient way to get the air out. Secondly, you can do a outside gable vent. So basically like a dryer vent style that would go outside of the side of your house. That's probably the second best option, but sometimes it doesn't really work with where your bathroom's located. It could be very far distance to get it there. So that's not always an option for a lot of people. And then the third option, which is really makes it easy, especially if you're not demoing everything down to the studs like this, is using a soffit vent, because that's usually typically easy. Usually your bathroom is on an outside wall somewhere, has a window, and you can easily run a soffit vent over the wall and through that soffit area. So those are your three options, but I'd highly recommend the roof route, but you have to be cognitive of how old your roof is, and then obviously leaking problems can be an issue. So let's open this up. Now this is a really great fan for retrofit, mainly because of this device here. So this is just a bracket that can span in between almost 2 feet. This is awesome for retrofits, because basically this is your cutout for your fan. You basically just cut this out and then put this bracket in the wall. Be sure to check out my video on replacing a vent fan with an existing ceiling. These are really simple to use, but since this is new construction, essentially, we're not going to need that bracket, and we're not going to need the cutout, because we're going to be putting the drywall up after we get this vent fan in. So this is the nice large vent. So again, just having it all nothing but vent, I think, is the best way. Get all this air out of here quickly. And then the actual vent fan itself. So this basically can be modified to go down to 3-inch if you need a 3-inch port, but it comes with the 4-inch, and that's what I typically use. So now, as far as and one important thing is, don't forget to do this. Take off the flap on here, or the tape off the flap, so that this is able to be easily moved. But this is a really nice, creates a lot of volume coming out of there. Now this does adjust. Which one model was this? This one's 80 to 110. So you can adjust the speed of this from, oh, I'm sorry, it's 110 to 150. So this is the bigger model that I got here. This is actually a fairly large bathroom. It's 6 foot by almost 12 feet. Actually, I'm gonna have to see what is this actually? I can't even remember. Oh, so this is basically 6 by 10. So that's a fairly large bathroom, 60 square feet. Rule of thumb is usually 1 cubic foot per minute per square foot. So this is gonna definitely basically double that. I'm a big fan of that. I think more air that you can get out, the humidity you can get out of here, the better. So this is gonna be able to range from that 110 to 150. So you're gonna have plenty of volume coming out of here. The way I'm gonna install this is really pretty much just anchoring this to the existing joist. I am going to be furring this down, so I'm going to add a furring strip onto this. But pay attention to what model you get, because this box is actually fairly deep. This is a 7.5-inch deep box. I only have ceiling joists that are 5.5. So if I had this floor like over here, I wouldn't be able to put that vent fan in over here without furring down the entire ceiling. So pay attention to your existing, there's different models. You want to make sure that if you have a tight space like this, that you get the smaller box, you know. But right now, I'm just going to be basically sticking this right at the edge of my floor. This is going to keep me outside of my shower area. You could go directly over the shower area. There's no problem with that. I just like to have my light. I have a recessed light that I like to put above my showers, so I want that centered on the shower. So this will be right outside of the shower area. So we got 32 inches for the tub, and that's basically right to the edge of my fan here. Main reason is because I did not realize that my joists are going to be so shallow, and that, you know, I wasn't going to get this moved over. But regardless, usually within 2 feet of your shower is a good bet for getting that humidity out of there. Okay, then I'm going to put a block right here. So just to show you real quick why this is so nice on the retrofit, if you don't watch that video, it's basically they have just one little screw here anchoring this vent duct. So you just take this off, and this will allow you to slide off. Nope, I'm gonna unplug the fan first. So this, in a retrofit area, you stick this up, connect your ductwork and your electrical, and then the box just slides right up. So this is what makes it so nice and easy for a retrofit style, but we're not going to need to do any of that with this system here. Go ahead and prep this now before we stick it into the ceiling. I like using these push-in fittings. Okay, so easiest way to make this connection is just to use these Wago clips. So these levers just come out, and then you can just stick the wire into the Wago clip, push the lever. The only thing you want to pay attention to is that it's holding it, and that you can actually see the braided line in there. These makes a really nice connection, really simple, and kind of foolproof. You know, wire nuts can really easily fall off these stranded lines. So this is really making a nice connection. Pull on and make sure that they're good. I can't tell you how many times a wire nut has not grabbed the stranded line. So this really makes a lot nicer connection, and it really makes it nice and neat. You can just tuck this in nicely. All right, so now we'll go ahead, connect our ductwork. We have a vent up in the top area that we got to connect to. Okay, so one of the best ways you can vent your vent fan is through a roof vent. I had to put a new pipe flange up for my flange going up for my piping. So at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and replace the existing vent and put in a roof vent for a ventilation fan. So these things are pretty small. Really nothing different than putting it in like a regular pipe cover. It's just a matter of getting on the roof and putting it together. So this basically just has a little opening here and a flap. Okay, so then this basically just connects right into this. Okay, so it's got a little bit of a grate on here. So we just got to stick this in, making sure that this flap goes over top of the shingles. Most important thing here is making sure this is overlapping the shingle. So you can see how I don't have any shingle here. We're gonna have to go another row before we can put that over top of it. So let's go another row. Okay, so the most important thing here is just making sure that this overlaps this shingle like that. Now we can go ahead and nail this in place. Okay, so when you're going into a vent fan in a attic space like this, you want to get one with the insulation that wraps around the flex duct, and that'll ensure that you don't get any condensation from this. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this up to my vent here first. Okay, so we're gonna worm drive clamp. Pull on that, make sure that's good shape. And now we got good flex. So this is perfect because it's only like 4 foot to the roof line. And as you can see, I have it all insulated. So now there shouldn't be any condensation. Biggest problem is usually when the summer happens, or actually it doesn't really matter. Whenever there's a lot of cold outside or a lot of hot, you can create humidity within this and you can sweat on the corrugated pipe. Now, I would recommend only going about 6 feet, 8 feet at the most with a corrugated pipe, just because of the resistance of it. If you go any further than 8 foot, you want to use a solid pipe, and then, you know, that'll reduce the friction or the friction of the air going out. And all the way around my vent fan too.